And the Flirtation's opponents to my right, hailing from New York, New York, and Humboldt, Iowa, respectively, at a total combined weight of 403 pounds, Fancy Ryan Clancy. And the Ovaltine Dream, Thomas Santell. They are Fancy Nerds.
All right, so I got a clarification here. It's actually the Romantic Touch and the Tender Weapon, and they are the Flirtation.
The Romantic Touch and the Tender Weapon.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, it was very confused. There was like pheromones in the air or something. I got very confused, so. Oh, that was our director, John Roy. Sorry.
Paul, what do you know about pheromones? Get out of here. Get out of here.
And,
I'm joking. I'm joking.
I know. I do know what a joke is.
No, he doesn't. But anyway, we're here. We're here. And John Roy is laughing and rolling with us, too, here. Yes, yes, yes. Sam Laterna here with the comedy. Paul with the play-by-play. I mean, Sam with the colored commentary.
Are you all right? Are you confused by the pheromones?
I am. My pheromones. No,
well, here we go. The Flirtation extending their hand.
Okay.
The Tender Weapon and the Romantic Touch.
Paul, that's what I call a little bit of je ne sais quoi.
I think that's the closest to a kiss that Thomas Santell has ever gotten, but that's another story for another time. And there's the exchange of the love between these two partners. They're with Love Doug, so they have to. There he is.
Love Doug is looking fab, so I mean, I'm here for the outfit. That's what I've got to say.
Well, his red shoes were something to behold, I will say that.
Well, you're wearing black and white shoes, right? You're on theme with Blackout, and Love Doug is on theme with his cohorts.
Well, there you go. Now let's get down to business, shall we?
I've exposed Paul and his fashion acumen. Let's get down to business.
The Romantic Touch, letting his hips fly here at American Rana Blackout, and Fancy Ryan Clancy, a throwback to the 1950s, 60s, and 70s, and giving it right back to him.
Clancy's got this. Oh, yeah. Got to pop those hips a little more, honey, but you're doing it. You're doing it.
And...
Whoa, okay.
I'm officially weirded out. Well, Fancy Ryan Clancy. This is what it takes
to weird you out, okay.
It doesn't take much. But Fancy Ryan Clancy, he has shown a great offensive acumen going through those older tapes and studying the way that they use their technique as far as their offense goes, using it here in the modern day because nobody sees that kind of stuff anymore. So that is why he has seen success at Wrestling Open.
You know what? When you take something old and you make it new, it's new again. And that's exactly what Clancy is doing here. But he's got to face off against some competitors that are giving him a run for his money and maybe making him uncomfortable.
And you want to talk about unorthodox offense, the Romantic Touch with the head scissors, but Fancy Ryan Clancy, under the tutelage of Thomas Santell, is going to be able to use technical prowess to escape almost anything.
I heard that the Fancy Nerds have been practicing together, doing some cool stuff in training, so hopefully, I know they were expecting the foundation, but I have a feeling they're ready for anything today.
Not sure if Thomas Santell has done anything cool in his life, but I'll take your word for it as the Romantic Touch tries that figure four. Clancy to his feet, gonna try that hip toss. Romantic Touch trying to get one himself as they jockey back and forth. Off the ropes. Clancy up and over.
Look at the air on that sunset flip.
Shoulders down. Count of two. And the Romantic Touch, I think, was thrown off there for a second.
He was. Oh, goes for that cover there. Clancy does. I wasn't sure if Romantic Touch was going to tag out or continue the action, but we're here. Clancy, Touch. Clancy might be going for a backslide, but Romantic Touch does have the height advantage here, so it's going to be harder to nail that in.
Gonna try that backslide. Gets down, shoulders down, but Romantic Touch using that momentum and turning it into a body slam as simple as you like. And here is the Tender Weapon.
So what do you know about the Tender Weapon, Paul?
I know not a thing about this person. I didn't know the tender weapon existed until the moment they came out. And here they are.
I have a really good joke, but I'm not going to make it.
Yeah, let's not. Let's not test the boundaries of the broadcast here.
Oh.
As there is an arm wringer. Look at that from Clancy. Smoothly done. And there is the tag to the Ovaltine Dream, Thomas Santell. Gonna try a standing switch. The tender weapon being very tender with Thomas Santell. And now Santell unsure what to think. Santell used to be a bit of a heartthrob in his day.
So I've heard.
But it is a different time, a different place, as he sends the tender weapon off the ropes. This guy's pretty smooth. He seems pretty technically sound, so gonna try the abdominal stretch. How about that for throwbacks?
It's certainly a throwback. Really, okay, but giving a little bit of maybe that Ricky Martin edge there, shall I call it?
Sure.
Ricky Martin.
The tender weapon, living La Vida Loca reversal, and going to an abdominal stretch of his own as Santell, shoulders down, shoulder up.
Living La Vida Loca, I love that, Paul. But Santell doesn't want to give up on that pin attempt right there.
Go behind, trying to use that amateur styling to keep the tender weapon down. Standing switch.
Oh.
Santell trying to maneuver his way out of this one.
And he does.
Picks the ankle. Santell is so good, and for being around so long, he's in better shape than most people in our sport. He keeps in physical conditioning. So now he has to try to figure out it. I'm pretty surprised. The tender weapon, like I said, he seems very technically proficient.
He really does. I'm seeing a seriousness to him that perhaps I wasn't expecting in ring. Perhaps there's more to the tender touch than we initially thought.
There is a slap to the gluteus maximus by the tender weapon, and Thomas Santell grabs that bottom rope.
I like that was his instinct, though, grabbing the rope as opposed to scurrying away, even though that's exactly what he just did. I digress, but, you know.
That hasn't happened to Thomas Santell since he was a child, clearly unnerved by that, and here is Fancy Ryan Clancy back in the ring. He got in a lot of trouble as a kid. That's all I'm saying.
I can imagine. I would imagine so. Fancy Ryan Clancy maybe getting... Oh, okay, headlock. Going in for it. All right. I think that he's seen that bit of tactical prowess from Tender Weapon, and he knows what to expect now.
The question I have now is, are the bright lights of American Rana going to be too much for someone like Fancy Ryan Clancy? This is the biggest spot he's been in before, so it is going to be interesting to see how he fares with that here.
Clancy has prepared for this moment for the last couple of years, first training with Lance Storm, then training with Damian Adams. He's a well-oiled machine. He's put the work in. I think that this is his time to show what he's really got, even though right now...
Nice double team maneuvering here. Off the ropes, goes the tender weapon, hits a clothesline. Makes the cover, is that it? Clancy out at 2. And this is very good teamwork from the Flirtation.
I don't know how long the Flirtation have been in-ring action in tandem, but they look like a well-oiled machine.
Seems like they know each other pretty well, as they were going to try reversing here. And look at that, sending Clancy crashing backwards into those turnbuckles.
Poor Clancy. And something to note, I mean, in terms of... goes for the cover there.
Shoulders up, count of 2, says referee Tyler Calloway, and Clancy now in the wrong part of town, the romantic part of town, I suppose, as gets the boot up and face first, using it as a double team maneuver here.
And they are very intentionally isolating Clancy in their corner. That's the name of the game in tag team wrestling.
Has that wrist, throws him into the corner, back elbow. And there is a hip attack. There's another one to the midsection of Clancy.
And now we have a gyration attack. Yes.
It was definitely attacked there by the tender weapon, as Fancy Ryan Clancy in a deep, deep hole here. He needs to get over to that corner and make a tag.
Fancy Ryan Clancy, definitely the underdog in this tag team match, now getting absolutely pummeled by the tender weapon, who is using his hands as weapons. Thomas Santell trying to go to the aid of his partner, but now Clancy,
took way too long, and he paid for it. Fancy Ryan Clancy is alive, picks him up.
Big atomic drop.
Returns the favor. There's a big-time lariat from Clancy. Can he get over and tag Santell? As you see this capacity crowd, and he makes the tag, and he also holds on to the tender weapon while he went over and made that tag. Wise beyond his years was Clancy, as Santell with the lateral press. Only a count of 1. And now, are the tables going to turn here at American Rana Blackout?
Ryan Clancy up top, goes for an axe handle. Classic Pro Wrestling 101. As we've said many times before, he watches classic pro wrestling tape. And Thomas Santell now tagging back in, trying to keep each other fresh. Good strategy here.
Double axe handle by Santell. They are not going to do anything fancy despite their team name. They are going to do the basics and do them maybe better than anyone. And now, going to try to tear that tricep off the bone, maybe the shoulder and the elbow with it, as there's a tag over to Fancy Ryan Clancy. Maneuvering the tender weapon, going back and forth, are Clancy and Santell here. Speaking of well-oiled machines, they are doing a fantastic job against the tender weapon. Gonna try that back suplex. Dropped him down. The arm caught the mat too. Makes the cover, unable to secure the victory. What's it going to take for the tender weapon now to recover? Because really, we don't know anything about him.
And quite frankly, we don't know what it takes for him to recover, am I right?
Absolutely not. It is a mystery. The fact that they are even here as a team right now was a huge mystery. So to try to figure out their frame of mind, their mentality, is a huge question mark here. But dropping Clancy on his neck is the tender weapon, and now he has to get that tag.
He's going for it, but Thomas Santell having none of it.
Trying that German suplex as Santell gets rolled through. Speaking of rolling through, rolls into the tag. Santell being rocked by those left fists. The romantic touch, letting it fly. Santell grabbed that rose, and the romantic touch put him in a bed of roses. Irish whip, big back body drop. The romantic touch fired up here, but Clancy is back in the ring. Here we go. Missed, his shoulder caught that second turnbuckle. You saw him favor it there. Almost stuck the landing, but went all the way through and went face first. Is that all?
Wow, being dragged into the center like a rag doll by romantic touch. Ryan Clancy, worse for wear right now.
And now there's some more of a gyration there from the romantic touch going over to the tender weapon. Can they figure out a way to put this to bed?
I don't think that was the right verbiage. But here we go. Oh my!
Bringing him down to the mat, Clancy now having that elbow and that shoulder practically torn out.
There's such a juxtaposition between the way that the romantic touch and the tender weapon wrestle versus how they act, the shenanigans in the ring, right? I'm seeing there's
Fujiwara here,
exactly.
Or at least a variation of, trying to pull that arm the complete opposite direction, very technically proficient.
I never thought that I'd see gyration and a Fujiwara armbar in the same like 10 to 20 seconds.
Well, you see something new every day here, especially at American Rana Blackout in front of a capacity crowd here at the White Eagle.
And if you like what you're seeing and you like what you're hearing, hashtag American Rana, tell us what you think on Twitter and Instagram.
Destroying that arm The romantic touch with an arm drag, now back down to the mat. They are ruthless here.
And Clancy is just, Paul, what do you think what's going on in the ring with Clancy?
I think Clancy is in a bad way here because not only is he taking a beating from these two, but the psychological warfare
of being embarrassed
that the Flirtation are using here may really be too much for him.
Well, I hope that he can keep strong mentally because the match is not over yet.
Into the corner, crushing Clancy.
I might have spoken too soon.
There's a running boot. Off the ropes. And another running boot with another gyration to boot.
Clancy seeing stars.
Makes the cover.
Clancy still holding on. Still has hope here.
Clancy out at 2, still fighting on here in his American Rana debut, trying everything he can to survive and maybe get over to that corner and make a tag.
That's, oh wow, innovative. Okay, I like that.
They collided, did the Flirtation, and now Clancy needs to get over there and tag in.
Oh, sliding through both men, and now Thomas Santell in with romantic touch and tender weapon. Atomic drop, yet another one, giving them a taste of their own medicine. Okay, one more for good measure.
And another back and forth. Santell making them maybe pay a little bit for those gyrations and those taunts, and throwing one of his own on the double noggin knocker. There's a clothesline, and now a batter in the corner. Back and forth, and there's a running elbow from Clancy. Power slam, hit it. Out at 2 is the tender weapon.
What a flurry by the team of the Fancy Nerds, though, right? I thought for a second they really had it. And now, Ryan Clancy back in the match.
Gonna try that double Irish whip off the ropes.
Oh, but
tries to get them both. Here comes the romantic touch.
Oh, no. Oh!
Big drop kick, shoulders down. Clancy still hanging on here. Boot to the midsection. What is he going for here? And maybe a variation of a tombstone, or maybe something that we can't even think of quite yet.
I don't know that I've ever seen this move in my 24 years watching wrestling. I've got to say that.
As they are making the Fancy Nerds pay. Inverted pedigrees?
But they kicked out!
Somehow kicking out at 2. They cannot believe they didn't finish off the Fancy Nerds with that one. And now they have to go back to the drawing board here at American Rana.
One thing's for sure, I think both members of the Fancy Nerds are feeling the pressure right now. They've been battling throughout this match. But, oh, what is this? Okay. Seems like something you might see in a cheer squad, but...
Little do-si-do and promenade.
Okay.
Into the corner.
Bam.
And they are double teaming there.
What is, oh my.
This is just unorthodox to say the least. Gonna try for a suplex perhaps. Going with a classic wrestling move here.
Oh, but Clancy.
Clancy able to block it. And really giving it a wiggle. Holds him up. Santell right there to save him.
Oh!
A small package.
Beautiful.
The Fancy Nerds are your winners.
Here are your winners, Fancy Ryan Clancy, the Ovaltine Dream Thomas Santell, Fancy Nerds!
And the Fancy Nerds are able to persevere and pick up the victory here at American Rana Blackout.
I I think the odds were against the Fancy Nerds in the first place, right? The Foundation, this great tag team, then them not showing up, and the Fancy Nerds not knowing their opponents, right? Threw them for a loop, and they were still able to get the victory. What a team!
Well, I'm sure. The Flirtation.
No more flirting for the Flirtation.
Yeah, the Flirtation's over here. And now the Fancy Nerds. Hey, Thomas Santell can't resist a good hug. And neither can Fancy Ryan Clancy. And Love Doug, despite the fact his team lost, seems to be happy with some affection shown here. Santell's had enough. Santell it's more than enough for him. Too much human contact for him, he freaks out.